Cold weather players have long had their challenges compared to their contemporaries in the likes of Florida, Georgia, Texas, and California, but these talents will not be denied. Over the past 5 drafts, there have been 22 cold weather players taken in the first round, including 7 last year, led by the 3rd overall pick, Max Clark. And from the takes one to no one category, we turn to Shooter Hunt, and with your New Jersey roots and first round pedigree, you got a look at some of the names that we could be hearing in this summer's MLB draft during a trip to the Northeast.
And you know what? And throughout the summer, the Northeast, I wasn't sure if it was going to be quite as strong a year as it has been in the past. Now there's been some mega years the last couple of years, not quite that strong. But I think the helium throughout this spring has really elevated what this group could be. So I'm really excited about New Jersey, Pennsylvania. Actually, I think next year New York's going to have an outstanding year to give you a little forecast on the Northeast from that standpoint.
A number of top prospects you caught eyes on during your travels, decidedly ACC feel to these names as well. And let's start with Miami signee David Shields. The left-handed pitcher outfielder out of Pennsylvania draws attention as the state's top-ranked player in the class. But he also stands as a really interesting study. He reclassified to put himself in position for this draft, and then he deals with a severe bout of mono that ends up making him lose 15 pounds in 2 weeks.
It is probably the most intriguing aspect of the draft right now, because coming out of the summer, David Shields might have been my favorite arm in the class. Lefty, he's young for the class. He's a two-way talent, can really swing it, athletic. He switch hits. Looks like he can play hoops. He can play football. He could kind of do it all, whatever he wanted to. They're Pittsburgh. They're multi-sport guys. But because of that bout with mono, you lose your strength. And the thing that I think most of the avid fan, and especially people who have not pitched before, what that takes out of you, you're off for 6-7 weeks. You were on a throwing program. Now the ramp up process, I have to speed up the way that I try to get to this. Oh, I'm trying to speed this up. Well, I have 60 scouts coming into town. I got GMs, cross checkers, special assistants, all coming to see me. Meanwhile, I'm trying to get back to where I am. This is where I need to be. This is what I should be. Why can't I do this? What I saw from him was he wasn't worried about that. This dude walked out of the car, got to the field. He doesn't think he's the best. He knows he's the best. He walks out there. It's not cockiness. He's confident. He's got moxie in the mound. Still moves well. I think there's some aspects of the strength that were not there that will come. So about 88 to 91, really 88, 89 late, showed better feel for the breaking ball throughout the game. More average across the board with the stuff. But because of that moxie, because of the pitchability, the feel on the bump, I think all that stuff plays up. I would assume most teams are going to get in there late to see, has that velocity jumped? Is he going to be able to get to that next level? Is the stuff getting crisper? Was he just sick? I think it will be, just because of what I see from the makeup on the kid. I think he's going to jump in that supplemental consideration in this year's draft. But he's a guy, if he goes off to college, you're talking about him being a potential top 10 pick in 3 years.
Wow. A name we all know well, Super 60 participant Chris Lavonis. You loved him in Chicago, but what did you see from the Wake Forest-bound right-hander when you saw him in action for New Jersey's Christian Brothers Academy?
The same stuff. I mean, he's been throwing for a long time. Every time he goes out there, it's electric stuff. No pitch goes the same way. Starts the game with just an absolute vicious slider. He's really creeping up with that secondary stuff, and especially the aptitude and feel for it, into the upper echelon of the class with regards to secondary pitches. 6'2", 175-ish, still super wiry. In this outing, really didn't show the fastball early on until late. Kind of got punched in the chin, and all of a sudden he ends the game with 94, 95, 95. I think that fastball will make a jump. It still has more in there, mainly because he's also featuring a cutter. And I think the pitches kind of cross over a little bit. The cutter's a distant, I guess he's got like 6 or 7 pitches. It's the last pitch on that list. Still okay at 88 to 91. But I think if he got away from that, the fastball could do even more, would play even better. Curveball, slider, really separate. But that changeup, I think, just takes him to another dimension. There is an inherent Trevor Bauer, Tim Lincecum type feel. He's super wiry, gets down the mound well, is very intricate in his pitch design. I think he's got a chance to get even better down the road. And the fact that he has that arsenal to go off and really succeed early on is going to be special for him professionally. But there's always the Wake Forest pitching factory, and he could become a top 10 pick as well.
Went into the week with a ridiculous 20.9 strikeouts per nine. So more helium shooter than the Goodyear blimp. We're staying in the Garden State with 3 Virginia commits. Right-hander Bryce Message, the #2 player from the Pennington School, middle infielder and outfielder Luke Dickerson out of Morris Knolls, who's the 3rd player in the state, and 4th-ranked William Kirk out of Ramsey. Shooter, the Cavaliers had one of the highest touted recruiting classes in the nation, and these were big reasons why.
Yeah, and a lot of these guys, Kevin McMullen does such a great job there at the University of Virginia identifying those guys. He's also a Jersey guy, so it makes sense that these guys are all headed down. They've elevated pretty early. So usually you get those guys, get them on campus, and then they become better. These guys have gotten better in a hurry at the high school level. You talk about Bryce Message, who the arm strength's always been there. About 6'3", 195, good, strong workhorse frame. Ball hops out of the hand. Was 2,700 plus RPMs on the fastball, and there's no cut on this. This was true ride. Didn't play quite as high as that, but it's an explosive pitch. He's going to have more there. It's more control over command. Throw it up there, see what they can do. But again, another guy. Those Jersey guys know how to spin it. We don't have the best fields, the bad hops. You got to strike guys out. So slider, breaking ball. I think both have a chance to be plus pitches. I love the changeup in the summer. It wasn't quite as crisp in this look. But it gives him an excellent other pitch to continue as a starter down the road. But what he's done is taken his spin pitches, which they were okay, more developing when I saw it throughout the summer. It's rare that you see a kid make an advancement and jump like he has just from the summer to his spring senior season. He did an outstanding job. He's positioned himself well into that supplemental second round chance there. I think he's a guy that teams are going to be highlighting. Between Lavonis and Message, it's tough. They're different, but they're also kind of similar when you start looking at value. So it'll be very interesting to see what the scouting community believes with that. Then moving on, Luke Dickerson, who might be my favorite helium guy of the spring right now. It's a kid who's big-time hockey player, physical frame, super athletic, blue collar, as good a kid as it gets, very courteous, goes out in the field and he's a killer. He can run. I don't want to say 5-tool potential just because we'll see what happens defensively. He did a nice job in the outfield, which I think teams are going to be circling him as. He's on our outfield list when looking at the high school stuff. Also plays shortstop, made some nice plays there. I think he's more second base, third base. His value is probably best in center field if he can do that. But dude can hit. Nobody, again, Cory, is ever Mike Trout, but there's a Troutian feel to a Jersey kid who's blue collar, goes out there, hits right-handed, is smacking balls on the school during the BP in center field, and then goes out there and steals a bunch of bases. So kid plays hard all the time. Love what he's about. Another guy, if he gets to campus, you're looking at a chance to rise. And then going on to Will Kirk, who honestly, this trip was originally designed around Will Kirk. He's at Ramsey High School, not too far from where I went to high school. Had a great summer. I love the way the frame has progressed. He's a wide-shouldered kid, about 6'3", 190. I still think there's some projection there. Was up to 91, maybe 92 in this outing. It was a cool, breezy day. I think that will continue to grow. But the pitchability is something rare. You just don't see it in high school kids right now. He has a plan to get through 7 innings. It's not, I'm going out here, just throwing it all out, 3 innings, bring somebody else in. No, he goes out there and your first at bat in the 2-hole, he's already thinking about your third at bat in the 6th inning. And kids just don't do that anymore. He knows what he's doing. Really good feel for the changeup. Breaking ball has a chance to get better. It's probably more average, near average right now. I think it'll tick up in future appearances. And it's similar to Shields. If you start seeing any 94s, 95s out of Will Kirk by the end of the year, all of a sudden he's sneaking up into that supplemental range because he had a great summer performance on the national circuit.
Shooter, you are more New Jersey than a John Bon Jovi song. But a couple notes here. I saw a message just spun a 5-inning no-hitter with 12 strikeouts. And Dickerson, you mentioned the hockey stuff. 38 goals and 20 assists in the season, including an 11-game scoring streak and helping Morris Knolls to a hockey state championship. So I think you just need to just put athlete on the pro baseball profile. But you also had eyes on a couple of big bodies at third base, 6'3", 205-pound Chase Harlan, Clemson recruit out of Pennsylvania, 6'3", 187-pound Sean Griggs, Alabama signee from New Jersey. These two are among the top 6 nationally at the position. Harlan 2nd, Griggs 6th. You've got the prodigious power with Harlan and some hitterish tendencies with Griggs.
Harlan's going to be one of the more fascinating guys. He was a huge riser in our on our draft board. You walk in and it's an elite frame. It's up there. You saw Cal Fountain at the Super 60. It's up there with that. Square shoulders. He's the type of guy who's turning sideways to get through doorways. Um, Dad was a basketball player. His little brother's a really talented basketball player. He was a hooper himself, and before he decided I want to hit in the 3-hole at the big league level. It's big power projection. Moves well at third base. Again, like fields in the Northeast are tough on natural surfaces to get a real good read, but he's just, again, the moxie. He walks out there. This is that dude. We feel confident in this guy, feeling confident in himself. Hit a home run in the game, opposite field. He's going to have power to all fields. The more at bats that he gets, I think the better the hit tool will be. He's kind of similar to Dickerson when you start looking at the draft, the accounting level. What do these guys want? Where do they value themselves, signability wise? But I think the ceiling is exceptionally high. He's also one of the younger guys. I think he's like 18-2 at draft. So one of those younger players, but that profile, big time power bat. How far away from Cal Fountain is he? He's moving up. He's moving closer. So we'll see what teams value in those guys. And then Sean Griggs, one of the smoother left-handed bats in the Northeast, really slows the game down, can cover the plate. The frame's still developing some strength. He's going to be more of a utility guy. Maybe some Matt Carpenter vibes to it from way back. With regards to his ceiling, we're putting a comp out there in the way down future. But he can really hit. I think as that strength comes, he's going to have a chance to hit some doubles, gap to gap, maybe some pull side power. So big fan of his. He's an Alabama recruit.
Well, you can take the boy out of New Jersey, but you'll never be able to take the New Jersey out of Shooter Hunt. That's a wrap on this episode of Coffee and Curveball. Stick around because there's plenty more coming your way. Until next time, we'll see you at the Diamond.